everyone, this segment is going to be a summary of so many of the classes that we've talked about this month, and it's going to be reminding us how to respond to leads, how to talk to people when we're first interviewing them, the scripts to use, the things to remember to say, and just a reminder about being a real estate person in general. So let's get into it and talk about each one. Number one is confidence is everything. Even if you are new to the role and don't know as much as you would like to yet, the best thing to do is speak with confidence on the phone. Every single time you answer a call, have that refreshing confidence that is going to make people glad that they're talking to you. Prospects will notice if you don't feel confident, and it may affect the success of the call. They can't see you, they don't know you, but you only have a bit of time to get them to trust you. So always be expressive and act confident in the beginning. You need to come across with confidence from the start. You're going to make mistakes, as Kiki just mentioned before. These mistakes are the best learning tools for you. You learn more from the calls that you fumble than the calls that you score on. We had Matt McLaughlin here the other day, and he said, even if I fumble on a call, or even if the caller doesn't want to talk to me, the next call I have a refreshing attitude and start all over again. From there, you can figure out new ways to improve how you've answered the phone, how you've asked them questions, how you've talked about who you are. Every call is a learning opportunity, and Matt talked about that last week.
And I think the way that you phrase things or ask a certain question, I think it's all psychology, and the way that the mind works is if you say something a certain way, you're going to get a certain response. And if you say it in maybe not a negative way, but a very, too forward of a way, people back off and like, okay, I don't want to talk to this person, or, it's all about the way that they are most comfortable in communicating and just kind of easing your way into the questions that you're asking them.
And not every single call is going to be the same. Matt talked about this as well. You may need to have a different approach with one person than you do with someone else, and you're always adjusting your approach and learning from it. Number 3 is understand when a prospect is not a good fit. We just talked about that this morning as well. For all the qualifying you do, it's important not to push a product or a service on a prospect who is not a good fit. And be okay with that. There's freedom in letting a prospect go that you acknowledge is not a good fit for you. There could be many factors that play into this realization, but when you do, back off. As a teleprospector, as they call it, your goal is to determine whether or not the service is a good fit based on the pains and needs of that target, not to pass bad or unqualified leads. So you're not going to fit with every client that's out there, and it's okay to acknowledge that nicely and to let them go, and they may be glad to let you go, but that's okay. Then you're just on to the next one.
And in real estate, agents fire clients all the time. It's if they're either wasting your time, giving you the runaround, or just not committed enough, it's okay to fire a client. A lot of people are totally afraid of that, especially new agents, that you don't have a lead, you don't have as many people as you would want. But if they're literally not letting you sleep at night because you're either stressed out or didn't get something done to them, or just not vibing the way you would want to vibe in a business relationship, let them go. It's not worth your time to sit there and struggle and be miserable because of a client. I know it happens,
right.
And sometimes you do have to stick through it until the end. But just if you witness that they're difficult from the beginning, just let them go. Time is money, and you don't want to waste it.
Number 4, be a good consultant and not a salesperson. We just talked about this a few minutes ago. By listening to them, you get an understanding. You don't need to give your prospects an elevator pitch when you answer the phone, and you don't need to offer cheesy jargon in lieu of meaningful phrases. Be helpful, be friendly, and be a consultant. Understand what their needs are and then know how you can advise them and help them with whatever their situation is. Again, it goes back to being a good listener as well. Leverage marketing to improve sales. We just talked about branding. Make an effort to understand your company's marketing process. We talked about this when we went through the pre-listing presentations. Understand what you represent, what your company represents. In the first chapter of Stacy's book, How to Hire a Lion, she talks about the full value agent and our full value company. Make sure that you've read How to Hire a Lion and that you understand what our company represents and all that you have to offer and all that our company has to offer. You should know the function of each buyer persona, including their pains and needs, and their preferred messaging methods. We just talked about the difference between a millennial and Martha and Henry who have lived in their home for 40 years. There's certainly going to be a great difference in the way you communicate with them, the way you talk to them, their understanding.
Yeah, I had clients that didn't have email. Who in this day does not have email?
Wow.
So I had to print out everything and meet them at their house every time I needed something from them to be signed. So you have to accommodate these people. You can't push social media or, the new technology, because one is going to make them feel uncomfortable and not really trust you on it, but showing them that you still, it's paper is paper, you sign, it's easy, you take it back a few years, but it's still happening. So always make the client feel as comfortable as you can.
In their format. Ask questions. Nobody knows everything on their first day. Take your time. Ask questions. Just like anything you do, you cannot expect to be an expert within a couple of days. Don't be bashful when asking for help, as showing you care enough to do the job right and benefit from the future. So you're learning every single time you do a call and have a client, you're having a new experience and you're learning something. Always ask questions of people around you. Shadow, follow people in your office. Have conversations with them. They're going to help you to learn how to be a better agent as well. And it'll help you to prepare for the next agent the next client that you work with as well.
You always find an agent, and especially at LAER, there's always somebody that's willing to help. So especially newbies, and I don't know everything either, so if I don't know something, I'm going to tell you up front, I have no idea what you're talking about. Explain the process, because I want to know what you're talking about, and I'm eager to learn. I'm always learning new things, and in this business especially, with laws changing and always changing and updating on all that stuff, you're always going to be learning something new. So don't be afraid of asking questions and letting them know that you don't know. And with clients, they'll ask you something you don't know. I remember this as being a newbie. I'd be like, I'm not sure, but I'll get back to you. Just don't say I don't know. Just say I'm not sure, but I'll confirm, or, figure out the answer. Make sure you do find out what it is and go back to them, because they appreciate that. If you, because I've had these calls where I've made mistakes and I'll say, I've said something that I shouldn't have said, or the way that I said it was wrong, and it kind of just turned them off, and it kind of showed that I was a newbie, which will happen to you guys. It's just a learning process, like, oh, I messed that call up, that guy's never calling me again. So it happens. You just gotta learn from it. The way you say things, and especially if you don't know something, they're gonna ask you, and some clients will test you. They will want to know how experienced you are and how much information you are, so that way they can trust you and moving forward in the real estate world. This is a big decision. They want to know they're working with a professional. So make sure you always get their answers back to them, and if you don't know, just let them know that you'll find out.
And along with that, don't give up at the first objection. Again, Matt McLaughlin was great about talking about this. Objections don't bother him at all. Sometimes prospects will challenge you with objections such as budget, authority, need, time frame. However, many of these objections are outdated. Prospects may still be hiding behind their objections, but you can immediately refute them or help them. So again, it's listening, acknowledging the objection and then helping them through it. Sometimes their objection is a front for them not understanding. So you're there to help explain things, or to, as Kiki said, to find out the answer for them and to prove your value proposition, that you're there as a trusted advisor for them. So even if they have an objection, lean into it, acknowledge it, and then go from there.
And that's another way that you find out if your client is real. Because I get leads and they go through, a basic question thing from the company that sends them to me. So the clients right off the bat has a wall. They're asking me all these personal questions, and I'm just going to say what they want to hear. And then once they get to me, I'm the one that has to figure out whether or not they're real or not, and viable lead, and if they're ready to go right then and there. So the way that I say things is to kind of ask a lot more personal things about them. And this just happened last week. Someone said, I'm just going to tell you the truth. Because they didn't tell the person that spoke to them before the truth. So they told me that, they were working with someone, it's not working out, they're trying to figure out what to do, blah, blah, blah. And I gave them advice in that, that situation. But the way you ask things matters. It's all psychological. It's all about the way you do things. So it's a big thing that I feel like people in real estate don't understand is it's all a mental game. It's all the way you present yourself. It's all the way that you say things. It's all the way that you can change one word in one sentence and it can make you golden. Like, it's just that powerful.
It is. Be energetic. Again, back to Matt. Matt is so energetic. Have a refreshing attitude every single time you answer the phone. No matter what happened on your last call, no matter what happened with your last client, be originally energetic every single time you answer the phone. You never get a second chance to give a first impression. This job isn't easy. You need to be thick-skinned to be a successful person on the telephone. Stay positive and upbeat. Smile while you're on the phone. It shows through. And your prospects will feel your energy. If you feel like you're lacking energy, put a mirror in your cube and stare at it while you're having the conversation. And even when you're leaving a voicemail, to get yourself in the zone. That's a great idea, actually.
And sometimes if you're sitting, you're not that energized. So sometimes I'll get up and start having a conversation while I'm walking, get blood flowing, get you, up and energetic.
That's a great idea as well. Leverage social media when prospecting. Social selling and teleprospecting aren't mutually exclusive. If you'd rather warm up a contact before calling them, follow them on Twitter and LinkedIn. We talked about this the other day too. Finding the clients on Facebook.
Stalk them. Find out as much information as you can about them.
It helps make them personal and helps you relate to them more when you're talking to them. Share their posts, favorite their tweets, and reach out to them socially before calling them.
So sometimes you'll just get the lead and you'll Google them online and you don't see them, or you do see them. I wouldn't right away friend request them because they're like, who is this person and why are they friend requesting me? I would, if their page is public or public enough, you see certain things, you can ask certain questions that will give you the answer that you already know, so that way you don't seem like a stalker. Okay. And that you already know something that you shouldn't already know. So just ask them, I'll search and be like, I'll see that they have dogs, I see that they have cats, or, children or something, and I'll ask them, oh, do you have children? And people love talking about their children, so they're going to say, yes, I have 3, blah, blah. Ask them their names, ask them how old they are. Take mental notes or write everything down. That way, the next time you see them, you have, LAER has coloring books and word searches. You can hand them, say, oh, these are for your kids that we spoke about the other day. The way you make people feel is going to go a longer way. I keep saying it. It's true, especially if you're good with their children. It just makes sense.
So Ann Silverman had talked about this when she did the Popeye class the other day, that she had met some people that were living in a condo and had 2 dogs. She'd found them on Facebook, sent them a note about their dogs and said, wouldn't you love to find a nice backyard for your dogs? I'm oversimplifying the story, but again, that was how she used that to her advantage, and it helped them to feel confident with her that Anne understood what their needs were. So that's what it's about. So do your research about that as well. Personalize your conversations. There's a fine line between being overly friendly and being overly detached on the phone. And again, this is going to be different in every situation that you have. You must both respect your prospect's time by getting to the point and personalizing your approach. So that's kind of a contradiction. But again, you need to keep that in mind when you're talking to them. Show that you've done your research and know the contact's role in what they're looking for and address their specific needs. Zero in on what their needs are. Listen to what their wish lists are. Sometimes if there are two people involved, their wish lists might be quite different, but acknowledge what those things are and talk about them.
I think a in-person meeting with both parties, both decision makers, and kind of listen, because they're together all the time. They're going to communicate a certain way, but once they're in front of you, they both have to articulate what each of them want. It's going to be different. Sometimes they're totally different, and you have to figure out a happy medium for both of them, or you give them homework and figure out what's the most important for each party. So I feel like personalizing your conversation is great, and take their lead on it as well. If they continue to talk about their personal lives, then that's fine. With at the same time, not staying on the phone for an hour, because that's a long time and you're wasting time. But it's be as comfortable as they are, and don't push too much on their personal lives as well.
Scheduling your day. Again, Matt McLaughlin talked about this. He loves cold calling. He does that the first thing every morning. Time block the things that you need to get done in your day. Even time blocking when you're available for appointments or whatever. That way you make the most of your day, you give consideration to what you're trying to accomplish, and it makes your day much more productive. So just try to do a better job at getting that done so that you accomplish more.
Stacy has, she has like 5 things that she has to get done before she starts the day. So she works out, she reads, she does her things all before we're even awake half the time. So, and to her, as long as she does those 5 things, she's all set for the rest of the day. Those are her main things that she needs to have a productive day. So if you can figure out exactly what you guys need to do in one day to make it productive, do that before you do anything else. And make sure it gets done. That way you feel comfortable, you feel like you got things done throughout the day. You're not just wasting the time throughout the day. Especially newbies that you're not busy right away. I think if you focus on certain tasks that will help you get busy right off the bat every single day, you'll feel confident that you're actually getting things done and that you're working instead of just, trying to figure out the real estate business.
Focus on the effectiveness of your messaging. It's important, again, this goes back to the branding a little bit, is what you say and how you say it. I know that one of the ways to do a voicemail, if somebody's calling you, is to say, I'm sorry that I can't take your call at this moment, but when I do, I'm going to give you the same personal attention that I'm giving the person that I'm talking to right now. That makes them feel important, even though they're leaving a voicemail at this time. Another thing that I think about is in Jostle in the library, Stacy has, I think, 60 pages of scripts. It's called Words That Work. And it's scripts to use for every single situation. Look at those. Use the wording from those when you're developing not only a voicemail to leave, but a script to use when you're calling someone, so that your wording is effective and appropriate for the situation that you're in. Another thing is to stay positive. Again, back to what Matt was saying about his calling. Always be positive. Always have a refreshing attitude with every single call that you take or every call that you make. With objections, cold calls, quotas to meet every day, it can be hard to remain optimistic. Take a break. Go walk around for a minute before you make the next call. The benefits of being positive are staggering and will increase motivation, greater sales productivity, and better physical health. When faced with adversity, take action and find what you can do to make it better. Always be learning from your own approach and try to better it, and stay positive. Use all the prospecting tools you can. Again, back to Jostle in the library. All the scripts are there. You look at those scripts, practice them, role play with somebody in the office, find another agent that you would like to work with, do some accountability, and practice the scripts so that you, when you're talking to someone, that the scripts become part of your fabric of the way you're talking, and you speak confidently about it. Researching your product or service. Back to Stacy's book, How to Hire a Lion, in Chapter 1, the full service agent and the full service company. Back to our pre-listing presentation. All of that talks about what we as a company represent, and you should always know what you represent. Back to branding that we just talked about. Be confident in what you represent and what your company represents. Number 17 is be human, and we just talked about that as well. It's more about the fact that you're an agent, but also that you are a human being. Are you part of a group that volunteers at a hospital to reach children who are sick, or Habitat for Humanity? Whatever it is, people want to know that you are more than just a real estate agent, that you are a human being as well. Show prospects that you're committed to helping them, not to selling them something. In some ways, ditch the script, but again, the script will become subconscious, and be confident in what you're speaking about, and keep the content fresh for more quality conversations. Every chance to interact with a potential customer should be approached with care and humility. That's a great sentence. Stay organized. Organization isn't all about scheduling your day or keeping your calendar clean. To remain organized, you need to effectively manage your time by using specific tools and a thought process. For instance, if you're taking calls with leads, always have MLS open so that you can be doing the searching as you're on the phone talking to them. That's going to make you twice as credible with them. So know that you have all of the tools that you need available to you, understand them, and use them to your best ability. Don't overwhelm the prospect with information. Listen to what you think they need the most and zero in on that. Don't overwhelm them with the A through Z of Buyer 101 all at once. They're just going to glaze over. Talk less, listen more, and listen sincerely. Acknowledge what they say and then go from there. Embracing your CRM. Your database is so important. Customer relationship management is essential for success. Boston Logic is superb at this. Have your database organized. Use it and work it every day. Always be updating it with notes from the conversations that you've had. Always have it remind you about important calls that you should make. When was the last time that you talk to a lead? Put in the notes about the things that they've said, or the particular interests that they have, or the needs that they have, so that you're always updated and using your database to help you promote the efforts and drive your business forward.
And the busier you guys get, the CRMs are going to save your lives, because you can be working with 10 to 15 people at a time, and you're not going to remember everyone's, wife's name or kid's name, or I'll meet somebody, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot this person's name, and and I'll play along until I figure it out. I'm searching my phone like, oh my god, what's this guy's name? But the more notes you take and put them into your CRM, it's just where you go for your information. So it's just better to have everything written down and in your CRM. It'll save you more time and time again. Trust me.
That's really important. Know when to take a break or rejuvenate. We just talked about being positive and being refreshing on every call. If you feel yourself losing your positivity, take a break. Take a walk, go do something different and come back to it. That break is going to help rejuvenate you and give you a new lease on making that next call. Make the call about the prospect and not about you. Again, it's important to listen to them. It's not you selling yourself. It's about you being a good listener, a good advisor, and what are their needs. For instance, if they're about to look for a new home, what is it that you would like differently from the home that you have? What is it that you need differently? Are you going from a condo to getting your first backyard and swing set, or do you need one more bedroom and bathroom, or a garage, or move to a different town because of a job, or are you downsizing? Whatever, listen to what their needs are, acknowledge their needs, and then it becomes about them and not about you. Be coachable. You will have to report your progress to someone, even if you're reporting it to yourself, but always be open to learning, to listening to what other people are doing, to looking at the scripts that I mentioned are in Jostle. Always be willing to learn more. Mike Ferry said years ago, the day you stop learning, you might as well get in the coffin and close the lid. Always be learning and updating your scripts and saying something different, new and different as you learn to be a better listener and a better advisor of your clients. Follow up and follow through. This goes back to the CRM a little bit. When you first talk to a lead, how are you following up with them? You should be putting that on your calendar right away. You should have an immediate strategy of how you're going to follow up with the lead, so that if you meet somebody on Friday, you don't wake up on Monday morning and say, oh, when was the last time I talked to Joe Smith? What did I do with him and what should I be doing next? You should always have a plan so that you know what your follow-up is going to be, and follow through with them. If you've sent them something, then follow up on it. How are you doing with that? How did you like the things that I sent you? How can I help? That follow-up is going to help you build the relationship with a person. Always be challenging yourself as well. As we talked about going to, whether it's board events, Massachusetts Association of Realtor events, or any training events that we are even offering, always challenge yourself to be learning something new, to be improving the way you're conducting business, the way you're helping your clients out. You're learning every day. Each experience you have with a client is helping you to grow and helping you to be better. You just have to motivate yourself to take the next step. And that's it. Thank you.